The boy was still saying hello to his sister, but the next second his body instantly turned into a bad ghost. Look! Seeing that the girl could see herself, he rushed up and clapped his hands and rang the bell. The bad ghost was suddenly blown away by an attack, but not because the girl was so strong, but because the two ghost guardians took action in time. In this way, the bad ghost was blown away dozens of meters away. Unexpectedly, the next moment, it stopped steadily. The whole body flew directly to the sky. When the god was just looking up, he was kicked by the bad ghost. He saw that the god's strength was nothing more than that, and even stepped up mischievously. Obviously, he was provoking the god. However, at the moment when the bad ghost looked up, his head was immediately hit by a ball. It was the move of another god. Now, the bad ghost's body is only scattered on the ground, but soon after, his body also began to disappear slowly. After the destruction, the god suddenly turned to the god. He looked at the girl and made a second gesture. But it didn't mean anything. He just disappeared from the air after the game. At this time, the girl was still in a crisis. When he turned to the god, he remembered what the god told him before. It turned out that the god gave him 3 chances to save him, and the first time had been used soon before. Today is the second time. It is equivalent to saying that he will be free from the protection of the god again. He was not afraid after knowing this. Because the head of the school is a bad ghost. A bad ghost followed the boy, but the bad ghost was guarding him. So ordinary people will be sucked by the bad ghost as soon as they get close. But the god still had to get close to him, because there were still a lot of cats around the teacher. So there have been cats around him all the time. He planned to follow the teacher to find out the truth, but the bad ghost was always watching around. This inadvertently increased the difficulty of tracking. Then the teacher went to the underground passageway. When he looked quietly, the teacher was really looking for this wild cat. He was so scared that he was ready to call the police. But the time didn't wait for him. The teacher had reached out to the cat. When he saw the cat was about to be killed, the bad ghost immediately came out of his body. The sword was scared back and forth. Fortunately, the cat ran over to him. He held the cat with his sword. Who expected the teacher to warn him to hand over the cat? So he had to run away in a hurry. However, because he ran too fast, he accidentally tripped on the stairs, causing the whole person to fall on the ground on the spot. Fortunately, the cat was safe. But when he turned around, the teacher was already standing in front of him and asked him why he didn't give the cat. The cat was also restless. Suddenly, he ran out of his hands. As a result, the cat just ran into you. A car was driving past. I didn't expect it to be this time. The teacher accidentally ran into this cat. This scene completely confused him. Then when the teacher woke up and came to the hospital, it turned out that he had wronged the teacher. This has always been the evil ghost, and that ghost is the teacher's mother. When he was a kid, the teacher was very strict with his mother. Even if the exam paper scored 98 points, his mother was not satisfied. He also accused him of being deducted 2 points. Other friends wanted to invite him to a birthday party, but his mother grabbed his head. It's obvious that if he went, he wouldn't come back. Then he had to tear up the gift. Then he had no choice but to throw it on the ground. He couldn't even make a friend with this kind of mother. Suddenly, a wild cat passed by him. Plus, he was very lonely, so he secretly brought the cat home. Unfortunately, all this was discovered by his mother. When he opened the cat's tail, the kitten has been killed by his mother, and his mother didn't hesitate to say that he did it. So the teacher actually loves cats very much. When he grew up, he wanted to protect the cat and atone for his sins, but he didn't expect that after his mother passed away, even if he turned into a ghost, he was still controlling him, so that every time he wanted to adopt a wild cat, he would accidentally kill his mother. However, he didn't know any of this. Only those who have good eyes can see it. So Genzi mistakenly suspected the teacher was the murderer, so she gathered up the courage to confront the evil ghost. The teacher asked the teacher to take the wild cat home for adoption, but his mother got angry and asked him to leave. But Genzi still didn't back down. His mother didn't like it, and Genzi just looked at him. The evil ghost rushed over in a hurry. He was so scared that he could only run away. He was chased by the evil ghost in an instant. He knew he couldn't run away, but he didn't move. But when the evil ghost was about to eat him, when he looked back, the evil ghost was lying on the ground seriously injured. And the one who shot was Gen Z's guardian. But it also means that Gen Z doesn't have much time left. This female ghost broke her hands. She actually wanted to kill her son. But when she was about to do it, an accident happened. But it didn't work. It turns out that she said this to the girl behind her. At this moment, the female ghost came back to life. She turned back to her mother. It turned out that the god's hand took her. Then the god's finger flicked her. It means that Gen Z has used up the number of times to protect her. At this moment, the god is discussing whether to ask Gen Z for the price to protect her. But think about it, forget it. After all, Gen Z is a poor student now. This is the teacher asking Gen Z, "What was the hell you were doing just now?" And she was scared to cry. But it's finally saved. The cats and dogs around the teacher turned a blind eye. Since it's starting to dissipate slowly, Gen Z guessed maybe it's because her mother was killed. Suddenly, a cat spirit was injured in the teacher's hand. She had seemed to have felt it. Maybe this should be love. After all, she can even give up her life to save the cat. That day, Gen Z and her best friend went to dinner as usual. Suddenly, she heard a bell. She was scared. She thought there was a god. She thought she should go to worship the god and make a wish. It was almost weekend. She came to the shrine alone. At this moment, Gen Z was confused. This was not a shrine. Why did she feel a low tone? It was unpleasant. It turned out that the god was standing behind her. She observed how to make a wish. Unexpectedly, this big guy suddenly came out. He was the one who killed the 1,000-year-old female ghost last time. She peed. Why do they have to pay attention to themselves? She didn't dare to think too much. Gen Z took out the sacrifice and made a wish. In her mind, she thanked the god for saving her 3 times. But they didn't react. What's going on? By the way, it must be that I didn't give enough salt. So she took out a plate full of sacrifices. Yes, that's right. There should be no problem next. Gen Z looked back. She found that they were getting closer to her. What the hell are they doing? Do they want to take away my precious thing? However, in the next second, this big guy began to transform. It turned out that they were not gods at all. In fact, it was a powerful Apio. This is what she could not do. What should I do next? I can't wait to die. I have to run away. But when she thought so, the Apio around her suddenly became more and more. Gen Z was so scared that she didn't dare to move. But the Apio was getting closer and closer. She looked at the scene with her head up. This Apio was too scary. She planned to eat Gen Z next. At this moment, she was so scared. It turned out that she was having a nightmare. After breakfast, she went to school as usual. But the father behind her was calling her to be careful. As expected, except for the father, she could still see these disgusting Apio. She just took a bus to school. She would also meet the bus ghost in the first few episodes. And she has become more and more ignoring the existence of Apio than before. But until now, Gen Z is still facing everything. Her head is covered in water. Why did she suddenly see it? This girl just sent a selfie to her best friend. Unexpectedly, she was turned back by the other party. And the next strange thing happened. She only saw her in her best friend's chat page. Countless selfies came in, even faster and faster. In the end, her face turned into a devil's face. When she saw this scary picture, the girl was so scared that she threw her phone away. But the final degree of terror was supposed to make her calm down. For a long time, the girl gathered up her courage to pick up the phone on the ground. But fortunately, everything was back to normal. For this, the girl thought she must be hallucinating. But when she looked up, she saw the scary thing again. The repeated blows made her forget to scream. She could only stay still like a wooden statue. Of course, only the things in the dress were scared, and the old ghost also felt strange. He didn't understand why the girl could see himself. So he asked his heart out. Seeing the girl playing with her phone without discrimination, he thought he had been dead for too long. Maybe he was wrong. Soon, the girl felt that the old ghost was getting farther and farther away from her. Finally, he disappeared in the middle of the night. He slowly put his heart down.
But the girl didn't understand that he was still alive during the day. He didn't even see anything strange. However, at night, he saw these scary things. He turned around and went back to the girl's house to wash up. He wanted to go to bed as soon as possible to escape from this scary day. And this is a big hand on the mirror. It attracted his attention again. He thought it was a naughty younger brother. But unfortunately, the girl looked up and saw another person. Of course, he already knew how to deal with this situation. And the ghost also felt that this little girl could not feel his strength. So he went back to his senses. He turned around and pulled the girl away from the cabinet door. He twisted his elbow tightly and shook it inside. It didn't end until a bag of salt appeared in his hand. It turned out that the girl wanted to use the method of putting salt in the house to drive away the ghost. After the girl was ready for all this, he fell heavily on the wooden bed. Soon, he felt dizzy, but this is when his abdomen began to feel strange. The next second, the girl took a slap on the back. The girl is curled up now. The salt on the ground didn't work. Her body was also hit by an unprecedented shock. A night passed. The first thing the girl woke up to was to check her back. Fortunately, everything was normal except for the wet road. In this way, he went to school with a tired body. He thought the noisy campus could dispel yesterday's ghost. But just as soon as he got in, he was strangled by his best friend's 2 basketballs. He was shoved into the corner of the wall. However, the next second, he saw a shadow blocking the window. You have to know that this is a 5-story building. Who can do such a difficult thing? However, the girl had already lost her fear to this rotten face. She was just silently enduring everything in front of her. But how did she suddenly turn into a yin and yang eye? This girl, who was taking a bath, suddenly found a black mist in the middle of her legs. I thought it was my own eyes, but the next second, the black mist grew directly into a man's appearance and show a pale expression. The girl was scared and immediately closed her eyes. A few minutes later, she found that the evil ghost had disappeared. She thought she might be hallucinating, but the fact proved otherwise, because that guy was taking off his clothes. No! I can't take a bath. It turns out the girl became a yin and yang eye for no reason. Not only can she see all kinds of dirty things every day, she will also be bullied by them. But it can also prove that she is much more daring than the peers. However, the evil ghost suddenly exploded and turned her head, trying to tell her not to run away. It seems that there will be something big to do with the girl later. But just as it was about to be full, the door of the bathroom was suddenly opened by the younger brother. The younger brother is not a pervert. He just wanted to see if there were any strawberries on my sister's body. So he judged whether he had a boyfriend. But it's still impossible to think of leaving, because his sister asked him to take a breath. In this way, the evil ghost who cooked the duck can only breathe through the corner. But the girl who ran away was not very happy. She found that her yin and yang eyes were getting stronger. Even ghosts 100 meters away can see clearly. The weather is good today. Unfortunately, the girl understood that she had to forget all this. Suddenly, she remembered that there was a box of pudding left over last night, so she ran downstairs to taste it. But when she opened the door of the kitchen, she found this scene. The big monster saw that the little girl was so stupid, climbed up to her step by step. She didn't forget to joke in front of the girl, but the girl was indifferent. She understood that if she shouted loudly, she must be thought by her parents as a crazy person. After all, who would believe that yin and yang eyes are like this? But fortunately, the warm atmosphere of the family soon overcame the girl's fear. The younger brother saw that the older sister was not interested in breakfast. He wanted to give her the pudding in the refrigerator. Wen-Yin, the mother, suddenly complained, "Did the pudding have blood on it? Or was it eaten by your father again?" It turned out that a year ago, her father made a mistake and ate a box of pudding. He had a big fight with his daughter. At that time, the girl was very angry. She even went to the point of wanting to swear. When she thought of this, the girl suddenly got up. She hurried to the refrigerator to get the pudding left over from last night. But this time, she didn't choose to use it herself. Instead, she went to the table and put it on the table. However, the strangest thing is that what was on the table was actually her father's photo. It turned out that after the quarrel, her father died unexpectedly. But why would the girl care about this? For her, being able to live with her father's soul is the greatest luck. Of course, it is also the only benefit that Yin and Yang eyes bring to her.